Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be sharing my personal placement cheat sheet, and this is going to be the exact strategy that I use to secure my placement opportunity. If you're preparing for campus placements or job interviews, this is going to save you a ton of time and keep you focused. So think of it as a shortcut. Instead of spending months trying to figure things out, you're going to know exactly where to put your energy. Let's start with stage one, and that's pre-applying. This is all about laying down the groundwork before you even start to send out applications. Trust me, if you get this stage right, it is going to save you a ton of time and the placement process is going to be a lot smoother. First off, let's just understand what exactly is an industry placement. You might also hear it being referred to as a sandwich year or a placement year. Basically, it's just a period of full-time work, usually about 9 to 12 months, that you'll do during your degree. And this is often going to be between your second and final year. Now, why is this important? Let's just say it gives you some hands-on, real-world experience working inside a company. And that just means that when you graduate, you're not just going to be another fresher with theoretical knowledge. You're actually going to have a full year of real-world experience under your belt. And this is going to do a few things for you. This is one, going to boost your CV. This is going to improve your confidence. And in a lot of cases, it leads to a job after you've graduated. Now that we have a basic understanding of what an industry placement is, let's take a look at the first step. Before you start throwing applications everywhere, take a step back and think about what you're actually interested in. If you already have an idea of what you're interested in, that is great, that's awesome. And if you don't panic, this is completely normal. But here's what helped me out. Speak to your lecturers and academic advisors. They've seen loads of students go through this process, and trust me, they can guide you towards the areas that others have thrived in. Next, find yourself a mentor. This could be through your university, LinkedIn, or even career events. Having someone with real-world experience is really just going to be like having a shortcut map. And here's one thing to remember. Tech is a really broad field. It's not just about software development. There are roles within networking, testing, cybersecurity, AI, data science, and so much more. Sometimes just having a conversation with someone in the field can open your eyes to paths that you didn't know existed. So another part of stage one is understanding your university's placement process. Make sure you understand how placements work at your university. Every university is slightly different. Some might require you to maintain a minimum grade. Some might ask for a report or a reflective piece at the end of your placement. Others might just want you to get the experience. So the careers team and your academic advisors, they are the best people to talk to for this. And usually there is always some kind of handbook or online portal with all the details that you need. Once you know these formalities like the deadlines, the expectations, you can start shaping your path with a little bit of confidence. Think of this stage as your launch pad. You're not applying just yet, but you're getting the rocket ready. So what does that mean? Start exploring roles and companies early. Even if you're not applying, just researching gives you a sense of skill and experience, and that's really what companies are looking for. The skill of research in itself is already extremely valuable because in your placement or career, you're constantly going to be figuring out new tools, new processes, new ways of working. And that just means you're going to have to prepare yourself to do some research. So yes, treat this stage as preparing to take off. Gather the skills, gather the information, and get ready for liftoff. Now, within that first stage, there are a few things that you're going to have to do within year one to get ready. Don't worry if you're already in year two. These are still things that you can actually start working on to get yourself ready as well. Now, if you're in year one, you might be thinking, does this even matter just yet? And the short answer is, yeah, it kind of does. And a little way more than you think. See, even if your university says that first year grades don't count, employers still look at your involvement and the foundation that you've built. So here are a few things that you can do to sort of prepare yourself for that. Get involved. Attend employer sessions, insight days, training camps. I personally went to events hosted by companies like IBM. Now, I didn't land a role there, but I did walk away with certificates and insight that made my application stronger later on. Set up your tools as early as possible. Join platforms like Handshake, GradCracker, Prospects, or any tool or portal in particular that your university uses. Update your LinkedIn and create a basic CV, even if you're not applying yet. The next point is don't ignore your modules, and here's why. In my first year, I learned the basics of Python, C++, networking, and even assembly language. And guess what? Interviewers did actually ask me about these fundamentals later on, even if I wasn't an expert in them. The next point is use your university projects as portfolio pieces. Side projects are great, but time can be a little bit tight when you're actually involved in university. Your coursework assignments can actually double up as strong portfolio pieces if you treat them seriously and reflect on what you've learned. So here's a big myth that I hear a lot. I've got nothing to put on my CV because I don't have work experience yet. And that is not exactly true. Whether it's a new programming language, a group project, or setting up a new server or a virtual environment in the lab, all of this is industry relevant. Companies don't expect you to be an expert. They want to see curiosity, growth, and initiative. That's it. So here's a pro tip. Start keeping a running list of skills as you go through uni. So everything that you learn, write it down. Languages, tools, projects you've worked on, concepts you now understand. Things like object-oriented programming and how network protocols work. These are things that you're gonna learn in university, and these are actually industry-relevant topics. When the time's right, you can take this list of skills and then translate them into your CV. Start putting them in industry terms. For example, instead of saying, I did a university project in Python, you could say something like this. I built a game in Python and object-oriented design. That's actually what you've been learning in university. You've just translated it into industry terms. Here's another one. I played around with networking. That sounds okay, but how about you say something like this instead? I created a simple network simulation using Cisco Packet Tracer. Now you see how detailed that is, and that gives someone insight as to what you actually did and the value that it has. Now we'll take a look at why translating things into industry terms is important later on, and there is going to be some material linked in the description of this video that you may want to take a look at after this video is over, or take a look right now, just dive right into it. So, do you see the difference? It makes your learning sound real, practical, and professional. And the thing is, when interviewers ask you about this later on, you're going to have solid examples ready to go. So that's stage one. It's all about reflection, preparation, and setting up the foundations before you even start applying. Get this part right, and believe me, the entire process is just going to be much easier. In stage two, we're going to take a look at the actual application process, and that's going to cover where to apply, how to apply, and how to stand out. So stick around for that.